All right, boys and girls, let's go ahead and take a look here. We are working on Module 2, Lesson 10, and our objective is we will multiply decimal fractions with tenths by multi-digit whole numbers using place value understanding to record partial products. So, number one here asks us to estimate the product. That's the first thing we're going to do. Then we're going to solve using an area model and the standard algorithm. And it says, remember to express your products in standard form. So let's go ahead and take a look here at number 1A. So we have 53 times 1 and 2 tenths. So we know that 53 is around 50, and 1 and 2 tenths is around 1. So when we multiply this, it should be somewhere around 50. Alright, so first thing we're going to do in our area model is we're going to take our 1 and 2 tenths and turn it into all tenths. So 1 and 2 tenths is equal to 12 tenths. Alright, so we have 12 tenths. So I'm going to separate that by saying 1 is equal to 10 tenths, and then my 2 tenths. 10 tenths plus 2 tenths. Now for my 53, I'm going to decompose that as 50 plus 3. Our vertical side here, we break this factor down as the heavier place value digits, or in this case the tens are going to be worth more than the 1, so the tens will sink down to the bottom. Go ahead and make our lines straight from our plus signs, our partitions. Now we have 3 times 2 tenths. 3 times 2 tenths is going to be 6 tenths. Then I have 3 times 10 tenths. That's going to be 30 tenths. When I add those together, 6 tenths plus 30 tenths equals 36 tenths. 50 times 2 tenths. 50 times 2 is 100, is tenths, so 100 tenths. Then I have 50 times 10 tenths is 500 tenths. I have 500 tenths plus 100 tenths equals 600 tenths. I add my partial products. 6 tenths plus 0 tenths. 30 tenths plus 0 tenths. And then 600 tenths plus 0 tenths. So I have a total of 636 tenths. So I know that this is equal to 636 tenths. Now I have to write my product in standard form, is equal to 636. And this 6 has to be in the tenths place, so that means my decimal is going to be between my 3 and my 6. My 3 is in my ones place and my 6 is in my tenths place. Let's look at the standard algorithm here. We have 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 1 10 is 3 tens. Then we have 5 tens times 2 is going to be my 10 tens. Regroup, and then I have 5 tens times 1 10 is 5 hundreds, plus my 100 is 600. Add those up, 636 again, and I know that I have tenths, so it's going to be 636 tenths, which is equal to 63 and 6 tenths. Alright, let's take a look at B here. And of course, when we check A, let's go back real fast. For A, I know that 50 is not too far off from my actual product, which is 63 and 6 tenths. Alright, looking at B here. 2 and 1 tenth is around 2, and 82 is around 80. So I know that my product is going to be somewhere around 8 times 2 is 16, times 10 is 160. So I know my final product is going to be somewhere around 160. Let's go ahead and decompose our numbers. Well, I know that 2 and 1 tenth is equal to 21 tenths. So I'm going to put my 20 tenths plus my 1 tenth. Alright, and then I have my 80 is going to drop down because that 8 is in the tens place. My tens place is heavier than my ones place, so it's always going to drop down. 80 plus 2. And all I did was I decomposed my two factors. 2 and 1/10 is equal to 21/10. I took my 20/10 plus my 1/10, decomposed it across the top. Then my 82 for my second factor, I have my 80 or my 8/10 plus my 2 ones. Go to my plus signs, I'm going to draw my vertical partition and then my horizontal partition. Now we're just going to do the basic multiplication. We know that this is going to, all of our answers are going to be tenths for our partial products. So I have 2 times 1/10 is 2/10. 2 times 20/10 is 40/10. And I have 80 times 1/10 is 80/10. And 80 times 20/10 is 1600/10 or 1600. Same way we did it before. What I'm really doing is just saying, well, 8 times 2, and then I had 1, 2 zeros. Alright, and we're going to add our partial products. I'm going across. I have 40 plus 2 equals 42/10. And I have 1600s or 1600 plus 80 equals 1680. I'm going to add my two partial products together, and of course these are tenths as well. Add my two partial products together, I get 2/10, 12, regroup my 1, that's 12/10, which is 120, regroup my 1, so now I have 700s and 1000. And this is my tenths. So this is 1,722 tenths, which is equal to 172 and 2/10. Alright? That's going to be my final answer when it comes to my standard form. Now let's look at our standard algorithm. Once again, we have all tenths, so I'm just multiplying like there's no decimal there, right? So I have 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2/10 is 4/10. 8/10 times 1 is 8/10. And 8/10 times 2/10 is 1600. You notice my partial products match up. Add these partial products here, and I should get the same thing. 2, 8 plus 4 is 12. Regroup 1 plus 6, 7, rid of my 1, and 1000. So I have 1,722 tenths, which is equivalent to 172 and 2/10. Alright? And of course this is around 172 and 2/10 is around 160. So that's how I know where to put my decimal place. You know that it wouldn't look right if my decimal was here, it would be close to 17. And if it was here, it would be close to 1. So you have to make sure that you place the decimal where it will be close to your estimated product. Alright, let's take a look at number 2 here. Now we're getting rid of the area model. We're just estimating, and then we're using the standard algorithm to solve, and we're going to still expressing our products in standard form. So 4.2 is around 4. 34 is around 30. I know 3 times 4 is 12. Times 10 is 120, or 12/10. Alright, now let's go with our standard algorithm. I know my answer, my final product should be around 120. So let's go ahead and multiply. Remember, we have tenths here. We're going to multiply without the decimal. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 4/10 is 16/10, which would be 160. Alright, now I have 3/10 times 2 is 6/10, so 6 in my tens place. 3/10 times 4/10 is 1200s. Right there. Now I'm going to add these partial products. 8 plus 0 is 8. 6 plus 6 is 12. And remember, this is 6/10 because it's in the tens place, plus 6/10 is 12/10. I can't put 12 in my tens place, which is 120. So I'm going to regroup 10/10 as 100. Now I have 100 plus 200 plus 100 That's 400. Use that, so I'll cross it out, and 1,000. All right, so now I see that the answer to this is 1,428 tenths, which is equivalent to, where would I put my decimal to make this number here close to 120? The only place that makes sense is to put it here. And I know it has to be tenths, so my 8 has to be in the tenths split. 8 is connected to that tenths. That's another way we can do it. And I'm going to pick up the pace here a little bit. 65, I'm going to round that up. 5 is my control number, so I round up to 70. 5 and 8 tenths is around 6. I'm going to round up. 8 is my control number. Round up to 6. So I know that 7 times 6 is 42. And I have a 0 here, so that's going to be times 10. 42 times 10 will be 42 tens, or 420. All right, doing the multiplication. If you know your 5 time tables and your 6 time tables, you can do this fairly easy. So we have 5 times 8. Remember, this is tenths. We're going to bring that tenths back at the end, just like we did here. So 5 times 8, 5 ones times 8 ones is 40. I can't put my 40 ones in the ones place, so I'm going to take all 40 of my ones and regroup it as 4 tenths. Then I say 5 times 5. Skip down my 5. 5, 10, 15, 20. 25 plus 4 is 29. That was 25 tens plus my 4 tens that I regrouped. 29 tens is 290. All right, now I have 6 times 8. But remember, this 6 is in the tens place, so it's really 6 tens times 8 ones, which is going to be 48 tens. And if you look here, I have 8 in my tens place, and I'm going to regroup 40 of my tens as 4 hundreds. So now I have 6 tens times 5 tens, and tens times tens equals 100, so I know it's going to be in the hundreds place. Then I have to say, well, 6 times 5 is 30, plus 4 is 34 hundredths. I can't put 34 in the hundreds place, so I'm going to regroup, put my 4 down, and regroup 30 of my hundreds as 3,000. It's an ugly 3. Let's go and do that over. 3,000. That's a big 3. Let's do that over. 3,000. All right. Now I'm going to just do some basic addition here. We have 0 ones. I have 9 tens plus 8 tens, 17 tens. Regroup 10 of my tens is 100. 200 plus 400 plus 100. Well, I know that's going to be 700. And then I have 3,000. All right? I know it's going to be 3,770 tenths. And if I write this in standard form, that's going to be equal to 3770. I have to have this number here, has to be tenths, so I know that my 0 is going to be connected to my tenths. And I also know that it has to be around 420. So the only placement on my decimal that makes sense is to put it between my 0 and my 7. And I know that that's my final product there. And if you notice, I rounded both of my numbers up. I rounded my 65 up to 70, and I rounded my 5.8 or my 58 tenths up to 6. So I know that this estimated product is going to be a little bit higher than my actual product. All right. 3.3 rounds down to 3, because remember, our control number is this 3 tenths. It's below the midpoint, so that's going to make it round down. 16, my control number is a 6. That's above the midpoint, so that's going to round up. And when I say the midpoint, I'm just simply referring to if I had a vertical number line and I had 3 down at the bottom and 4 at the top. In the middle would be 3.5. 5 or above, give it a shove. This is a 3, so it will be 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. 3.3 would be right here. So I know that I would round down. 3.3 is closer to 3 than it is to, let's change the color up here, than it is to 4, right? So I will round this number down to 3. All right? Now with 16, it will be the 2 closest tens is either 10 or 20. The midpoint between 10 and 20 is 15. It would be 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 16 would be above the midpoint. So 5 or above, that's where we get that 5 or above. 16 would be right there. So 5 or above, we give it a shove. 16 would be closer to 20 than it is to 10. That's why I did the rounding that way, just in case you don't remember that from previous years. All right, back to the problem here. 3 times 2 is 6, and then I have a 0, so times 10 will be 60. All right, let's do the actual standard algorithm. 3.3 times 16. To get rid of my decimal, I need to multiply 3.3 times 10. Right? So now when I multiply 3.3 times 10 is going to be equal to 33. Now I have 33 times 16. All right? Now keep in mind that we did multiply by 10. So at the end, when we have our product, we're going to have to divide by 10 to bring that decimal back. So let's go ahead and do the standard algorithm. 6 times 3 is 18. Regroup my 1. 6 times 3 is 18 plus 1 is 19. Then I have 1 times 3, but that's 110 times 3. So that's going to be 3 tens. Then I have 110 times 3 tens. That's going to be 300. Now I do my addition. 8 ones, 12 tens, and 500s. Alright, so now remember, since initially I multiplied by 10 to get rid of my decimal, I'm going to just simply divide by 10 to bring my decimal back. And when I divide by 10, I'm just going to move my decimal point back in, and I get 52.8 for my final answer. If you notice, I like to circle my final answers. Got a lot of work on this page, so if you circle your final answer, this makes it a little easier for me when I'm grading. Alright, same thing. Midpoint would be 15.5 between 10 and 20, so I'm going to round this up to 20. So now I say, well, 17 is closer to 20 as well. So now 20 times 20, 2 times 2 is 4, times 10 is 400. So now we're going to do the same thing we did. Draw our squiggly lines, we separate. At 15.6 times 17, I'm going to multiply by 10 to get 5 to 156 times 17 now. Then I do the basic math. 7 times 6 is 42. 7 times 5 is 35. Plus 4 is 39. 7 times 1 is 7. Plus 3 is 10. And I say, well, this is going to be times 10. If you notice, this 1 is in the tens place. So what I'm really doing, in my mind, I see 110 times 156. I know that all that's going to happen is going to be 10 times 6 is 60. 10 times 50 is 500. 10 times 100 is 1,000. So if you notice, this 156 is the same, 156, but it's over one place on the place value chart. And I'll show you that really quickly. If I had my 156 and I multiplied it by 10, everything's going to shift over one place on the place value chart. So that's how I got the second partial product. Let's go ahead and do the basic addition. 2 ones, 9 plus 6 is 15 tens, or 150. So I have 105 tens. 500 plus 100 is 600. And then 1,000 plus 1,000 is 2,000. So I know that this is going to have to be divided by 10 so that I get my 265 and 2 tenths. Alright, so if you think about it, we're multiplying our factor, our decimal fraction, by 10 to get rid of the decimal. And then we divide our final product by 10 to bring the decimal back in these cases. And it's divided by, or multiplied and divided by 10 because it's only out to the tenths. And that's what we needed to get rid of the decimal. And I'll show you that right here. So we had 15, let me move that over one place value. We had 15 and 6 tenths, and we multiplied it by 10, everything shifted over one place to the left. That's times 10. So I had 156. And then, when we came back later on, we had 2,652. And when we divide it by 10, everything shifted over. And that's when we came up with our final product right there. Alright, just ran out of room there. Couldn't show them both at the same time. Let's take a look at the next problem. We're going to look at E. So E, we're going to estimate and say this is going to be around 70 times 2. 7 times 2 is 14, so 70 times 2 would be 140. Let's go ahead and put our decimal fraction first. The reason why I do that is because I want to multiply it by 10 and make it become a whole number. So now we'll do the multiplication. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 2 tens is 6 tens plus 1 ten, 7 tens. 7 tens times 4 ones is 28 tens. I can't put 28 in my tens place, so we'll rename 20 tens as 200s. Then I have 7 tens times 2 tens. That's going to be 1400 plus 200 is 1600. Alright, and then I'm going to do the addition here. I have 2 ones, 7 plus 8 is 15 tens, 7 hundreds, and 1,000. So I know since I multiplied by 10 to get rid of my decimal in my factor, I'm going to have to divide by 10 to bring my decimal back, and my answer is going to be 175 and 2 tenths. Alright, let's take a look at our next problem here. So we have 193 and 5 tenths times 57. Same thing. I know in order to get rid of this decimal, I'm going to have to multiply 193 and 5 tenths times 10. Now it's going to make it 1,935. Of course, it's 1,935 tenths, but we're just going to look at it like it's a whole number until we do our division at the end to bring our decimal back. Alright, you know your 7 time tables and your 5 time table. You don't even have to know them all. Just 7 times 5, 7 times 3, 7 times 9, and 7 times 1. Alright, so 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 3 is 24. Then I have 7 times 9 is 63, plus 2 is 65. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 6 is 13. Alright, now on to my next one. So I have 5 tens times 5. It's going to be 25 tens. I can't put my 25 in, so I'm going to regroup my 20 tens as 200s. Then I have 5 tens times 3 tens. It's going to be 1,500 plus 200, 1,700. I'm going to regroup 10 hundreds as 1,000. 5 tens times 9 hundreds is 45 hundreds plus 100 is 46 hundreds. I'm going to take my 40 hundreds and regroup them as 4,000. Then I have 5 tens times 1,000 is 5,000 plus 4,000 is 9,000. Excuse me, it's 10,000. So I had thousands times tens. Remember we said thousands times tens equals 10,000. So that was 10,000, not 9,000. All right. Let's do some basic addition now. 5 ones, 9 tens. That's going to be 12 hundreds. Regroup. That's 9 10,000 and 11 10,000s, or 100,000 and 1 10,000. So our final answer, once we divide, is going to be the same number, 110,295. We're going to divide it by 10, so our decimal is going to appear to move over one place here, and it's going to be 11,029 and 5 tenths. Let's go ahead and do the rounding just to see where we will come up with. So around this 193 and 5 tenths to 200, and I'm going to round 57 to 60. 2 times 6 is 12, and then I have 1, 2, 3 zeros. So my answer should be around 12,000. 11,000 is around 20,000. So 11,029 and 5 tenths is around 12,000. All right. Turning into a much longer homework helper than I wanted, but we're going to go ahead and continue. Mr. Jansen is building an ice rink for his backyard with a that will measure 8 4/10 meters by 22 meters. What will the area of the rink be? All right. So we know that it's going to be 8 4/10 meter by 22 meter. We hear that by, we know we have to multiply. So let's get rid of that decimal by multiplying by 10. Since it's in the tenths place, number goes out to the tenths place. So this would be equal to 84 tenths. Now we have 84 times 22. So we have 2 times 4, 8, 2 times 8, 16, 2 times 4. Now remember this is 2 tens, so it's going to be 8 tens. And then 2 tens times 8 tens is 16 hundreds. And we want to add up our partial products. 8, 14, 8, 1. We know that this has to be divided by 10 because we multiplied by 10 initially. So once we do that, we know that our answer is going to be the same 4 digits, but it's just going to be out here. And the reason how I know that, and you should too, is because earlier in Module 1, we did problems that look like this on our place value chart. So we said these problems were 1,848 divided by 10. When we divide by 10, every digit is going to move over one place value unit to the right. And that's our answer. All right, boys and girls, this is a 20 plus minute, or actually a 30 plus minute video. Hopefully you use this to your advantage and checked your work, not just copied, but checked your work. And hopefully this is beneficial to you. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about any other problems that are similar to this. And as always, keep learning.